He's on the road. He's got to go. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network. He's on the road. He's working hard. He's carving out time for us. His weekly appearance brought to you by Hartley and Hartley Insurance, your trusted family-owned insurance experts in the Puget Sound area since 1978. Honesty, fairness, integrity. Contact Jamie Hartley. He has put the golf clubs away. 253-565-8700. Also, Zogs on Fox Island, and congratulations to Zogs on Fox Island. They just celebrated 10 years in the business this past weekend. Perfect spot to go grab a cold beer, hang out with friends, go catch a Thursday night game tonight. Check out all of their hours and events on Facebook and Instagram. Mike, you're on your way. Go cover Thursday night football in your carving out time. How are you, sir?
Doing great, Puck. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well.
Funny.
I don't know. You sound like you've had one of those. You look like you've had one of those days.
No, I'm good. I'm doing great.
Okay.
I'm ready to rock.
Okay. We got a good one tonight. We got some good games this weekend, but it starts off tonight. This is going to be a fun game, the old Thursday night game.
Yeah, and when you look at the rosters, to me, you see Philly. Philly just seems like the better team on paper. They've been playing well. They've been playing teams that they should beat, and they've beaten them handily, which is what you're supposed to do. Yeah. But then you've got the up and coming, playing above their heads and believing that they're playing above their heads. Commanders coming off that loss the other day, disappointing fashion. A couple of reasons it was disappointing. I thought Zach Ertz had that first down. Still not clear on why they didn't mark that correctly. But then the offside penalty. But it's it's good to be on a short week when you're coming off a loss because you want to get back out there. So they've got good culture. They've got good confidence. Dan Quinn's done a phenomenal job. Let's see if they can get up for this game and ready to rock.
I had a hypothetical question that someone asked me. I think it was in one of the chats when we're doing this live. There's a chat that people can ask questions. Mm-hmm. And they said, would you trade Mike Macdonald and Ryan Grubb right now for Dan Quinn and Kliff Kingsbury? And I said yes if it meant Jayden Daniels was coming.
Listen, Jayden or Kliff, I should say, has done, and this is only highlighted by the fact that the Bears made an offensive coordinator change. Yeah. With Shane Waldron out the door, which many folks out there would have said, not sure why you were in a rush to hire him. No offense to him. I'm just saying they interviewed Kliff. Multiple teams interviewed Kliff. And Kliff decided in the end, after the Raiders wouldn't guarantee the third year on the deal, which was kind of odd, but also a convenient out to get to Washington, to get to coach the number 2 quarterback overall. Which at the time I think we were pretty clear it was going to be Jayden. He's doing a great job of putting him in. He's not asking. I talked to the players down there. He's not asking to do things that he's not comfortable doing. He's playing into what he has shown he can do, and that's making him successful. And Kliff Kingsbury has been an outstanding offensive coordinator. It was a little weird at the end of his tenure in Arizona, but why teams? If you said to me who's the first coordinator going to be hired this offseason, I would not have said Shane Waldron. And he's one of the first fired now.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody could have told you out here in Seattle. The players told you. Jackson Smith and Jigba told you at the Super Bowl.
Which I hadn't. I didn't even see that when it happened. I didn't see it until he was fired and everybody was talking about it. I was like, what are they talking about? And I went and found the clip and I was like, whoa.
Oh, yeah. Dude, that was an all-time clip, man. Hey, Jackson, what can you tell us? Excitement over the Bears' new offensive coordinator. He's like, there's like 5 seconds of dead air.
Yeah.
He's just not good.
Are we live? He said.
Yeah, you don't want to pounce on a guy, but it didn't. You could see that from a million miles away. This is why I think we talked about this before. And maybe even last week that I just think that when you draft this guy number 1, why not just do a fresh start, a whole new start?
What do you mean?
Well, because were they really sold on Eberflus?
Oh,
convinced he's the guy?
Yeah. He did well enough to put him in position to give him another year with a legit quarterback, drafted first overall, to show them what he can do. And he hired, if he'd hired Kliff, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about this. For whatever reason, he decided he didn't want. And we knew what Kliff thought of Caleb. So how would Caleb look right now if Kliff Kingsbury was the offensive coordinator? Probably a lot like Jayden Daniels looks right now. So that's where when that came out, I remember talking to Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero in a group thread, and I was like, I think Flus is going to live to see to regret the day that he made that decision. I do. So just only because I knew what the concerns were in Seattle, and just at odd times, some of the decisions and the handoff to the defensive tackle as a fullback, which did not go well. And there were a lot of decisions recently where you're just like, this guy, and the less comfortable Caleb is. I know this is for every quarterback, but it seems like it's magnified for him. The less comfortable he is, the more he falls off, it seems.
You think they'll make a move? You think they'll make a move to sit him down at some point?
And we got to see how it goes with Thomas Brown, who I can't give you a grade on him because his first stint as an offensive coordinator, he got the play calling, got it taken away, and then he got it back, and it was just like it was that season in Carolina. So this is a good test for him if he can raise it up, the level of play. I mean, the bar's pretty low right now. You raise up the level of play, keeps Caleb going, and who knows what it means for this coaching staff moving forward.
Where do they look? I mean, who would be if they, which most people expect, right, Mike? They're going to make a move with a new coach at the end of the season. Where do they turn? I mean, because they got to get it right, and I would assume they've got to find a guy that's an offensive-minded coach because you've got a quarterback, a franchise.
You don't have to look. Yeah, you don't have to look far. There's one in the division that hasn't taken a job for the last couple of years, and I know the whole Washington thing with Ben Johnson. I don't think that was going to work either way for either side in that deal. I mean,
you got a phone call.
I'm trying to. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. You got to tell people to stop, but you got to tell people to stop blowing you up on the phone line.
Can't hear you, but I can hear me. Anyway, Ben Johnson, that would be.
Yeah, we can't hear Mike.
What job is he for? We'll see, but that would be where I would try to get if I'm the Bears.
But you were kind of cutting in and out there. Okay, you were kind of cutting in and out there. But you said like Johnson, like the word like, well, I don't know if you said it or who else, but like was the word like Johnson didn't interview all that well? Was that kind of the impression that people had around the league? Yeah,
it was. And he's a different personality. But some people may look at it and say, okay, that might be, and he's working on it, from what I understand, working on the way he communicates to people, to players, and so it doesn't matter. Like he's a hot offensive young coach. Like he's going to be in the mix. He's going to be the number one guy. This offense is continued. It's not like he's dropped off at all. It doesn't matter how bad interviews are. He's still going to be one that owners are clamoring for. And eventually he'll have the right fit, and the owner will be like, okay, cool. I mean, Adam Gase got a second job, and we saw at that point he really should have taken a step back before taking that Jets job. But that wasn't a great interview process, and he got a job there, so it'll happen for Ben Johnson for sure.
Can I give you it's not even a wild card because I'm sure it's been discussed before. Can I give you a name that I would keep an eye on? Like I'm telling you to keep an eye on.
Is it going to be Jed Fish?
Like the guy who covers the NFL needs some idiot in Seattle to tell him, hey, keep an eye out on this guy. No. What about oh my God, why am I blanking on his freaking name?
Is he a college coach?
Yes, why you threw me off.
Lincoln Riley?
Yes.
Okay.
What about Lincoln Riley? You just see the news, right? You see the news, they got placed on probation.
Yeah. What happened the last time USC had a coach that was placed on probation?
He bolted for the NFL as fast as he possibly could. Now, he delivered a Super Bowl here. It was great. Yeah. But the reason he left USC is because they were going to get placed on probation. Yeah. What about that?
I mean, he's always mentioned. Has he done enough with that program as what people would have thought he would have done, especially with Caleb Williams last year? Probably not, right? So, there's just not a. You're going to hear Drew Petzing's name, offensive coordinator-wise. Drew Petzing's name. Come on. Holy moly. I got Kubiak in my head, but it's the Texans offensive coordinator.
Oh, Slowick.
Come on, dude.
Bobby Slowick.
ends in a K. That's why I get
Hey, did both? Are you dealing with the flu like I'm dealing with the flu this week, so I can't recall anything, or did you tie one on last night?
I've been sick for like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I've been sick for like 3 weeks. So
it's awful.
And it's the first couple of days were bad, and it's just been kind of hovering at 25% capacity the rest of the way. So
hold on, honest to God, I've been sick since this weekend. So Sunday was the last time I went. Yesterday was the first time I went outside since Sunday. I mean, that's pathetic. Wow. I've been in sweats and just staying inside.
I just live my life. I just go at it, as long as it's not anything that we have to quarantine for, I just let it rip.
You just let it rip. Just live your life. All right. I got you.
Yeah. So,
all right. So, Lincoln Riley just would just because I thought of him immediately with the Bears, just because when the news came down with the probation. So,
yep. We'll see. I was talking about the offensive coordinators. There's not a ton that you're going to see. Slowick, got his name. Slowick going to be mentioned. Drew Petzing going to be mentioned. There'll be a bunch of defensive guys. I mean, we've got the old. Just like if I don't answer, I'll call. I see it. They put the missed calls on the phone so you can see the missed calls.
I got you.
All right. So the old guard, Steve Spagnuolo, Lou Anarumo, those kinds of guys. We'll see if they'll get it. I mean, Spags at this point. You had Kevin Demoff from the Rams, who was an executive for the Rams at the time that Spags was basically saying, without saying it completely, but basically saying, we did not put him in a position. No one could have succeeded in that position. What he won't say, but what I'll say, is that team in St. Louis was just interested in moving at that point. Mm-hmm. It was all eyes on Los Angeles. That was the biggest thing. It wasn't about putting the most successful product on the field. So I feel for Spags greatly on that one, and I feel like if you got an executive from the team who is telling you, we didn't do enough for this guy because the unspoken part, it's time for him to get another shot.
Hey, do you think the Dallas Cowboys Jerry Jones son story is about the most fun story you think you've ever covered in the NFL?
The Dallas Cowboys. What is it?
The son, where the son, we know when the son's going to come in.
I'm like,
the son,
you meant his son.
Not the son, not gotcha. His son, but the son. We know where it comes in at. It's a home field advantage for us. It's the greatest story.
You got to win the toss, though. Everybody else knows. It's not like the other team doesn't know. They know about it. They definitely know about it.
Hey, I'm telling you, it's time to. It's time for him to just go out.
I didn't realize till this week they have curtains apparently that they can drop, and they have dropped for wrestling and for concerts, and so they do have curtains available to them, and they decide not to use them.
And then it also affects the press conference. But you see, they take care of McCarthy. They put up a screen for him.
for the Sun.
For the son, because the sun, not the son's son, the actual sun in the sky. It comes in.
I did see that. Yes, I did.
It's just like, I don't know, man. He is. It's bad.
We love Jerry.
Well, they are. It's a soap opera. They are like, I know everyone gets upset about the coverage of them, but it is a real life. They're the Kardashians. You can't turn away. It's the car that's on fire as you're driving by.
That's a good comparison. Either you love them or you hate them, right? Just like the Kardashians, they've got their acolytes and they've got their people that just want them off the face of the earth. So that makes sense. Yeah, that does. He's not going anywhere. Yeah. I would say if I'm him, I got to do everything I can to hold on to Will McClay, who's been a really good de facto general manager for them and always has interest from other teams every offseason. Didn't seem like he was interested in ever jumping, but maybe that happens soon in the near future for Will McClay. That would be, if I'm a Cowboys fan and I see that, major problems if that happens.
Yeah. Do you like the Deion? I don't know how you guys are handling it at the network, but do you like the Deion to Dallas media machine? I mean, it's in full force.
I like Deion to anywhere. Deion to anywhere. Jacksonville, bring it. New Orleans, let's go.
Okay. Do you think he jumps to the? You think he jumps to the league?
I think he would love to. Yeah. Yeah, I think he would love to.
Because think about it, Mike. Like you talk to college coaches, right? I assume. I mean, It's got to be miserable to coach in the college football right now. I mean, absolutely miserable.
It's horrible.
And it's 24/7.
it's easy to recruit your own son, but that's not going to last long, right? So at some point you got to go, well, what am I doing? So, and they've done a nice job. Last year's record was not great. This year they're doing, what are they, 7-2 or whatever they are right now. It's they're doing, and look, it's going to be a lot harder to win games in the NFL, but he showed. Pat Shurmur's there with him. He had Mike Zimmer last year, I believe. So he's shown the ability to bring guys with him for a less than ideal job. I mean, Colorado's pretty good. It's a nice place to live. But, where Pat Shurmur and Zimmer clamoring to go work there. Well, now anywhere in the NFL, anybody's going to be interested in joining you. So, he'll have the ability to put together a good coaching staff.
Would it work with him in Dallas? With Jones?
It would work for me. That's all I care about.
All right, so pick the best. Pick the best team. Is Dallas the best team from an entertainment standpoint you'd want him in, or would like the Jets be the best team?
That I don't want that. Nobody wants that. I can't. That's just not. Nobody wants that. So he's got a problem with people asking questions. I mean, which he'll get tough questions in Dallas too. But I just feel like it'd be a good place for him. Now I still think, and maybe I'm in the minority, Cowboys should not fire Mike McCarthy. He's really good as a head coach, and I'd keep him. But seems like a lot of people have an idea of what's going to happen there. We'll see.
All right, before you go, I know you got to make your way down. You got to cut it short. You got to make your way down Thursday Night Football. What do you make of where John Schneider and the Seahawks are at right now? I mean, it's a big topic this week in Seattle, like really big. Like people are starting to question, hey, man, you've been given the keys this year. And this was, most people, including myself, this was one of the worst off seasons that they can remember under him. I mean, the two linebackers that you replaced Bobby Wagner and Jordan Brooks with, they're gone. I mean, one you just cut and the other one you traded. Well, where do you evaluate the situation right now with Seattle and John Schneider?
Yeah. I think they're still trying to figure out the people that fit Mike Macdonald and what he does. And this will be a big offseason for that for sure, having spent a year together and the chance to really attack free agency and the draft and where you can and bring in personnel that's really going to fit, which, I certainly tried to do last year, and he had his input in free agency in the draft last year. But I think that this offseason will be big for that. And I think that there's confidence in what they do and their process. And this year, I don't want to say it's a redshirt year or anything like that, but this year is about setting up things for the long haul on them, and they still feel good about, Macdonald and Schneider and the working relationship. So, that's the fact that they got off to such a hot start has kind of been a detriment to them, because if they started 1-2, you'd be like, all right, new coach, we kind of expected this. This is a lot, but the fact that they came out of the gate hot and then won that game in Atlanta too, which was the other one, led to a sense of they should be competing. So they got the Niners this week. Am I correct? Yeah. Good litmus test.
It feels like what they've done with the linebacking core is like they've started. They're not going to say it, but they're starting like the quote. What if they don't want to call it a rebuild or reimagine or whatever? That they've started the process
of what? Rebuilding?
I think in a way. I don't think they'll ever say it, but I think there's part of them that's punting on this season.
Yeah, but they're not going to punt far enough to get into the top. I mean, there's 11 teams, I think, is a number of 2 or 3 wins, which maybe it's now 10. I think the Dolphins won. Or the Dolphins have 3 wins now, or they have 4 wins. I think 3 with their latest one. Yeah, the entire top 10 is separated by 1 game, and they're not in that mix right now. So it's going to be hard to get into position together. So what they do at the quarterback position to me is the biggest thing for them. And I would advise John Schneider to be aggressive this offseason. You see a guy you like, you got to do what you got to do to get that quarterback.
You're not confident that they would bring him back under a new deal, or are you confident with
who? Geno?
Yeah.
Well, you could do that and also draft a quarterback. These are not guys that are, if you're Caleb or Jayden, you got to start them right away. You could do both. And Geno's not going to command a huge number. So it was $25 million last time, right around there this time. I'm sure they would like to, and you could still get yourself a rookie. It's not a lot of money being spent at the quarterback position comparatively to some of these other teams who are already in the 60s.
Okay, sir. Have a good drive. Have a good broadcast tonight. What time folks in Seattle can catch you on the old network for Eagles Commanders tonight?
Yeah, NFL game day kickoff, 3 p.m. Pacific time, 3 up until kickoff.
Okay. Have a good broadcast, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for carving out some time, Mike.
You got it.
All right, there he is, Mike Garafolo, NFL. He had to go. He's like, hey, man, we got to keep it short and tight today. So I appreciate Mike for jumping on, pulling over, and doing that. I hope you all appreciate, too. It was a couple of hiccups in there with people calling him, but he's the best, man. I mean, this guy's a number one NFL Network guy, and he jumps on this show, every single week. So, and he loves doing it, and we love having him. And big thanks to Jamie Hartley and Andrew Herzog. Hartley and Hartley Insurance brings you Mike Garafolo every single week. Trusted family-owned insurance experts in the Puget Sound area since 1978. If you need insurance, family-owned insurance company, go trust them. They're down there in the Tacoma area, University Place area. They've got honesty, they got fairness, integrity. I know the man. I've shook his hand. I've played golf with him. I've broke bread with the man. Jamie Hartley, he is one of the best. When you give him a call at 253-565-8700, ask for Jamie and say, Puck told me to call you. I need help with insurance. And he also, you're going to do this too. You're going to say, hey, also, he said you'll take me to go play golf at Furcrest. Say Puck told me that you would take me to play golf. If I sign up, if I hire you for our insurance, he said you'll take me to Furcrest. 253-565-8700. He's gonna hate me for that. Also, big thanks to Andrew Herzog. He's a Duck fan. He's riding high. I gotta frickin' read these texts every week that he's sending. But good for him. Zogs on Fox Island, as I mentioned before, just celebrated 10 years of being around. Go check out Zogs on Fox Island. It is awesome. I mean, it is one of the coolest outdoor, beer gardens. You get it's like a little bodega with a beer garden, live music. Zogs on Fox Island. Check them out on Facebook and also Instagram for their fall hours and event times. Really, really cool spot down there in the South Sound. They bring you Mike Garafolo every single week. In case you got late into the episode, full episode up on YouTube. Also, check it out on Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. As I mentioned before, it is up at pucksports.com. Big thanks.